Hey guys, today we're going to talk about minor conversion. There's been some conversation about what you can play over a chord progression. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to think about how we can organize and maybe keep an idea, like a motif, which is a small musical phrase that we can play over a set of changes. So for instance, we have, what I did was I broke it out like this. So we have C major, C7, C minor 7, C half diminished 7, and C7 flat 9, which is an altered dominant. Now, the beauty about this is that you can take these and organize them a couple different ways. So for instance, if I want to do, say, I'm playing over a chord that's C major, I can think about the minor sixth, which is A minor, which allows me to change my harmony. So while I have that C happening, I can actually play the A minor against that over a set of chord changes. Now, as a bass player, you have to make sure there's a piano player or a guitar player that's playing through the changes, because if they drop out, especially in jazz, if they drop out, this just turns into mush. You're going to have a bunch of mess in there that it's not going to sound like you're playing the changes. Now, this has been made popular by guys like Pat Martino. Pat Martino calls it minor conversion. So what we do is we're thinking through this and we see the C major off the sixth. Now, I will also think about this off the third, which would also make this E minor. Now, E minor off the third sounds pretty cool, because if we have that C major and you're playing that E minor seventh against there, you have E, G, B flat, or actually E, G, B, D. So you're playing, you are playing the ninth inside there too. So you have the third, the fifth, the seventh, and the ninth over the C, which sounds really cool. That gives you a really nice shape to that. Now, the next option is when we come across a dominant chord, well, what could I do over a C dominant 7? So our chord structure in this would be C, E, G, B flat. So we have a B flat in there. Now, the way that you want to convert this into the minor conversion to make it work is you play the fifth of the C. So in this case, C, you would play the G minor, because there's your fifth, right? G, B flat, there's your seventh. The D, there's your ninth. And the F, which is going to be your 11th. So against that C7 harmony of, you have that F kind of working in there, which gives it a really cool color tone. And that's, the fifth of the five becomes a minor chord. Pretty cool, right? Now with minor, because you're already in minor, it works out pretty well. So we have C minor, keep it C minor. Now, when we come into half diminished, you're going to think differently. Okay, so we can still keep with that minor idea. However, here what we're thinking of is melodic minor. So I always think about Autumn Leaves. Autumn Leaves has that turnaround at the end because it's in minor. So you have that 2-5-1 in minor that's happening, which is actually going to be that F sharp half diminished 7 to the B flat 13 to the E7. Now with that, that's this functionality right here. But what is melodic minor? Now up until this point, we were just thinking triads, right, or seventh chords, root, third, fifth, seventh. Now you could play the full minor over that. However, you might find some clashing notes. You shouldn't, but you could, depending on how it's happening. But with this, what we're thinking of is that we have the diminished, which would be off of the third. So off the third of that C diminished, I have that E flat melodic minor. And that works against that C, right? That C half diminished. Now, off of the dominant 7, or the altered dominant, it's a half step away. So it would be that half step, and you're thinking that melodic minor against that. That works really well. So if you have like a set of progressions, like a set of changes, and you're looking for a melodic motif, an idea that works through those set of changes, this would be something I would work with. What I have here is I wrote out a bunch of 2-5s. So we start with a 2-5-1 in C. So D, G, C. Well, we would think of this as D minor, right? Because that's minor, stays the same. The G7 would also be D minor. which gives us the option of playing a D minor lick over 2 bars if we want to. And then we have the C, which we can make E minor. So that E minor then gives us that motion. So we have that. We have that movement going up rather than the movement of the resolve to the 5th. So, and that goes on as we move through different keys. Now you could think about this as a way, it's almost like tonicizing or playing through the key, but it works in smaller chunks, which is great because that gives you the ability to really kind of work through a concept and build that concept out. So just keeping it simple. So when I think of a set of changes, so I would look at Autumn Leaves. So Autumn Leaves is a great set of changes, right? Because if we think about Autumn Leaves, our first progression there, our first set of chords is A minor. Now if we do this in the key, we're going to do this in the key of E minor instead of the key of C minor, which is the original. But in this case, we're going to look at the real book version. So your first set of changes is that E minor to that D7 to that G7, right? G major. So the way that I would approach that there, over those 2 chords, right? Because we have that A minor to that D7, the 5th of D is A. So you could play A over those 2 bars. When we come to the G, you have the option of playing the 6th, which would be E minor, which is tonically, it's the tonic of the key that we're looking at. Or you can play B minor, which would be kind of cool. Then we go to that C. That C is going to work, that's actually a Lydian chord there, but we could still play that as E minor or A minor arpeggio or 7th, followed by the F sharp. Now this F sharp is actually here. This is that F sharp half diminished, right? So I would move that to the A minor. And then that B goes to a C minor. And then resolving to the E minor, which is the key. So that's kind of a way to work through this. I know I went through that a little fast because I kind of wanted to break that down a little quicker. But this is kind of another way to look at harmony, especially if you're working through chords or you're working through songs and you're taking ideas. You can always use this as a way to kind of come up with extensions or ways to play outside of just the roots of the chord. We start to look into some extensions, and that's really what this does. It gives you the extensions of these chords. And I did it like this so we can see the breakdown of it all being C. Now if you have any questions on this, this is a really great topic, and I love talking about this stuff because this really helps you to kind of think outside the box or come up with ideas, especially melodic. We have a lot of guys who just play really fast licks through things, and it's cool, it's kind of bebop-ish, but at the same time, it's not... Personally, I would rather hear something more melodic played over it with a phrase and think more like I don't know, something vocally rather than just a bunch of really fast bebop lines. And this kind of gives you that ability. So if we're looking at Autumn Leaves, remember what I said, you have to have somebody kind of playing those. They still have to be making those changes. Otherwise, it doesn't sound like you're making the changes at all. In fact, it's going to sound like you're really out. But as long as they're doing that, you have the ability to kind of extend. So if I have that A minor, I can extend those out and really build out some really cool harmony. And that's really what we want to do here, is extend out into harmony. Well, this was just a quick tips, guys. I hope you're doing cool. I hope everything's great. Getting ready to get back into the world of playing. Hopefully you're taking lessons. Let's talk. Let's see what you got. All right, guys, be well. Peace, love, and low notes. Don't forget to subscribe.